Hello friend. I want to tell you about the Honda Accord Type R car. The Honda Accord is a popular and well-liked car with a good reputation. It is seen as reliable, but relatively expensive. It is an average car among the numerous Passats, Mondeos and French cars, but the Type R version stands out above the norm. Today, the sports sedan is a tempting proposition due to its price. Is it worth taking an interest in? In 2000, the Accord underwent a delicate facelift. Details were changed and it is difficult to distinguish the two versions when they are not next to each other. The car was produced until 2002. Among the engine versions, apart from the classic Honda petrols with the VTEC system, there was a diesel from the Rover stable. Perhaps that is why many mechanics believe that the Rover 75 produced at that time was related to Honda. There was another gem. The 2.2 VTEC engine with 212 HP powering the Type R version. The Type R itself was a gem in the range. The Accord, perceived as a car for old people and doctors, in its sporty version was something unusual, original and arousing mixed feelings. A huge spoiler and often white paint distinguished the Accord from any car in its class. It was vulgar because it was supposed to attract attention. What's more, the Accord Type R, the first and last on the European market, was a car not only fast on a straight line, but also on bends, and it was not afraid of the track either. The Type R model had modified shock absorbers and shortened springs, but only slightly. The hard damping characteristics are complemented by thicker stabilizers, and larger brakes ensure proper deceleration. The front-wheel drive can handle the powerful engine thanks to 17-inch tires with a width of 215 mm. Compared to the standard Type R models, apart from the engine, it has not undergone any major modifications, but many minor ones that make up Japanese perfection. The suspension design has not changed. The front brakes have a two-piston caliper instead of a single-piston one, but the rear ones are identical. There are many common suspension parts. The body is slightly lighter, including the lack of a reinforcing beam under the rear bumper, and the equipment is also lighter, or rather some of its elements are missing, e.g. electric windows at the rear or soundproofing in some places. It has a smaller fuel tank. It is also stiffer. In the front, as in the standard models, two struts were used for the cups, while in the rear, the Type R version did not have an opening behind the seat, which was the only version that could not be folded. Thanks to all the modifications, the Type R drives completely differently, absorbs bumps differently and lacks the understeer of the standard versions. The 6th generation Accord also came in a Euro R version. It was slightly more powerful, but also had richer equipment and the steering wheel was only on the right side. The styling of this version also differed from the Type R. Engines. The 6th generation Honda Accord had a small range of engines. Most were petrol engines with a capacity of 1.6 to 2.3 liters in the Classic, 4 or 5 door body and a 3.0 V6 in the Coupe. All except the 3-liter were 4-cylinder units that liked high revs. Only the 1.6-liter did not have a VTEC system, and the turbodiesel, as I mentioned, is of British origin. Apart from the 3.0 V6 engine, the most distinctive was the Type R engine. It's a 4-cylinder unit with the H22A7 designation, related to the rest of the H22 series with the same capacity. As standard, they were simply more powerful than the other units in other Honda models, but the A7 was an exception, because it was the only one to power a Type R line car. It underwent a treatment to strengthen it and allow it to rev really high. It owes this feature, among other things, to sharp camshafts. Just look at the parameters. 212 HP at 7,200 revolutions per minute and 215 Newton meters at 6,700 revolutions per minute. However, the torque curve is not what you might imagine. From around 2,000 revolutions per minute, the torque value reached 180 Newton meters, which is slightly less than the maximum in the 2.0-liter engine. In any case, the H22A7 engine feels best in the upper part, especially from 5,000 revolutions per minute, and that is where its real potential lies. What's broken? Although the Accord Type R can be considered an exceptional model in some ways, it suffers from several ailments characteristic of standard Accords. One of the most annoying is corrosion that appears under seals, on edges, wheel arches, and also on some pipes. Beware of rusting brake lines on the rear axle. There is also play in the steering gear and suspension, but this is a problem for many cars with high mileage. However, in the Type R version, their presence has a significant impact on the quality of driving. The Type R is rarely treated as something special for Sunday drives. You also need to watch out for the lower wishbone pins, which can break off over time without any signs of play, which ends badly for the car. The H22 engine is, as always in Honda, a very refined design, but the A7 version is sensitive to neglect. This is normal in sports cars, but not everyone knows about it. It does not tolerate bad oils, changes every now and then, or neglect in the efficiency of the cooling system. To enjoy the Type R, you have to strictly adhere to the rules of use, and even shorten the mileage between individual oil changes or adjustments. During dynamic driving, it is best to have it. A neglected engine tends to overheat and crack the block. Fortunately, the block fits from other H22, the most popular from Prelude, but replacing it will still take a lot of money and time. Lambda probes are sensitive from the electronics, and throttle valves do not like dirt. It is worth checking the VTEC valve seal, which likes to leak oil. There have also been cases of timing belts breaking due to the hydraulic tensioner, but it is easy to guess that this is due to neglected maintenance. In any case, it is an expensive part, and you can successfully buy and install a cheaper and simpler mechanical tensioner. The problem is that it has to be checked often. In addition, the failure concerned mainly the Prelude engine, a twin, but not with identical equipment. In addition, it is difficult to show other, typical faults. For some, the fault is oil consumption, but this is typical in Honda engines used aggressively. It is also typical for other brands, but it is rarely mentioned. At higher mileage, failures affecting sports cars used very intensively should be expected. Honda gearboxes are durable, and those installed in the Type R allow for very fast gear changes. The result is that synchronizers can give out. Double ones were installed in the Integra Type R. Maintaining a sports car is always expensive, but not everyone realizes this. I mean the costs in relation to a standard car, because high reliability also translates into savings. Unfortunately, on our market, most cars are worn out and serviced incorrectly. Some parts are specific, available only at ASO, and prices at Honda are very high, which results in replacing them with incorrect or used ones. The engine must be treated almost like a racing one, so it requires good care, the best oil, valve adjustment. The same applies to the gearbox. The Accord Type R has larger tires, 2 mufflers instead of 1, and fits into the last range of insurance rates, capacity over 2 liters. Fast driving, and that's all you want to do, also results in fuel consumption that doesn't exceed 10 L, 100 kilometers, but you know which way. Fortunately, maintaining the Type R shouldn't be much more expensive than maintaining the newer, standard versions of the Accord. Is it worth it? Yes, short and concise, because the car can be safely driven every day, and as a toy for racing it is ideal. Of course, in its power class, without electronic aids, purely mechanical, a real sports car with front-wheel drive. In addition, an exotic and already a classic. A well-maintained example is a real rarity on the market, but also on the street or in the garage. If the Accord is bland as a standard model, the Type R will always be exceptional, even without that vulgar spoiler. Thank you for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and rate my video. If you know of any problems with this car that I didn't mention, be sure to write about them in the comments.
I have good news for you. Now, if you are planning to buy a used car, or learn more about your car, you no longer need to search for the information you need on the internet. We have collected everything in one place for you, on the website carme.pro. Here you can find out everything about the car, what breaks and at what mileage, any problems with engines, chassis or gearboxes. which trim levels are better not to mess with, and how not to lose money buying a used car. You will learn all this on CarMe.pro.